Hello, my friends. Good evening, and I'm glad to be here to be with you to have another short conversation. It's been quite some time that I did not posted any blog or sharing because I was busy because it was enrollment time. Actually, this whole week we were wrapping up the enrollment, the registration period, and there were also several concerns that I need to attend to, which prevented me from having time like this. But today is Saturday and it is weekend, and perhaps I think it's timely that I should also post this sharing. And I hope that I will not be eating up much of your time. Anyway, I'm going out in a few minutes. I'll be going out, so I decided to spend these few minutes with you. Now, what topic would I discuss today? This will just be a short discussion, a debriefing discussion. Okay, so let's talk about being a peacemaker. I think this has something to do with the gospel reading that we're going to have tomorrow on Sunday. Sorry, wherein Jesus talk about the blessedness or the beatitudes, and one of the beatitudes is that it says there, blessed are the peacemaker, for they shall be called the children of God, or the sons of God, or children of God, to have to use a more inclusive language from the scriptures. Okay, so what does it take to be a peacemaker? You know, uh, my advocacy for peace education is partly because it stems from my conviction as a Christian that we have to pursue peace at all times. In many parts of the Bible, Jesus has taught us the way of peace, the way that we need to agree with our enemies. We need to agree with our opponents in some way. And usually, the people of the world who are not indoctrinated, who are not enlightened by the teachings of the gospel, they always have the tendency to respond in a way which is violent. So their philosophy is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So just imagine if all people will reckon what just imagine if all people will exact revenge on all individuals that have offended them. I think this world will end up with people maimed or physically decapitated because of that kind of principle. I'm talking in a metaphorical sense of view, because human beings have a tendency to inflict harm on those people who also inflict harm on them. And I think in the teachings of Christ, we are taught to forgive, and we are even taught to be generous to our enemies. And I think if people will truly love each other, serve each other, I think this world will become a better world. It will become a nurturing world. It will become a world that provides opportunity for everyone to grow. And I think this is the kind of secret, the pathway to peace, that most of us human beings really do not discover or do not see the value. That's why if only we would follow this principle of loving each other, preferring each other before oneself, and serving each other. And just imagine if all people will be doing that, loving each other, supporting each other, forgiving each other. I think this world will become a better world, a world that gives nurture. It's like if you find yourself in this kind of world, you are like the plant, uh, given the nourishment, given enough water and sunlight, and then you will grow to become a better plant. And I think that's what is the kingdom of God. And sadly, in this dark world, which is uh, dominated by violence, dominated by misunderstanding. And I think the more that we need to pursue peace, we have to. That's why we are pursuing peace not only as a form of value or as a form of belief, but we are pursuing peace a in a scientific manner. That's why we have a Department of Peace Studies, because even people who don't believe in God, or maybe even people who are atheist or whatever persuasion, they can all enter into conversation so that we can have peace. The lack of peace in this world sometimes is not it is not just the lack of empathy for each other, but it is the lack of communication. Because if only people will communicate and enter into a dialogue, an honest dialogue with each other, I think we will be able to see some form of commonality, or a certain form of synthesis that will pave the way for understanding and appreciation of each other. You can just imagine. Remember the short story about the blind man who were asked to describe how the elephant looked like. So they were using they were using their sense of touch, and however, each of these blind men were focusing their attention on a particular part of the body of the elephant. That's why they gave out a different description of the elephant. But if these all blind men will come together and discuss their experience and try to listen to each other and synthesize all of this, they will have a clearer picture of what the elephant is all about, and this will reduce the level of debate and discussion among them. So, in a metaphorical way, human beings are also like that. We are fixated in our own perspective. We are focused on our own understanding, and we fail to consider that there are also people out there with different opinions, different perception, and sometimes because of our nature of self-preservation, we tend to be defensive and tend to be dismissive of others' opinion. But I think if we can only loosen our guard on this kind of natural tendencies, then we can open up a little bit of the windows of that understanding. I think it will open up for a dialogue, and will foster the atmosphere of conversation, exchange, dialogue, and peace. This will ultimately lead to peace and understanding. And I think this is the challenge for us, especially for us who are in the academe. The more, not only that we should be objective in our way of looking at reality, but rather that there should be an there should be an openness on our part to perceive and to be welcoming of others, and to examine these things in light of how we should understand it. So, my dear friends, thank you so much for sharing, and for allowing me to share some of my thoughts about peace, about understanding, and I hope that I have shared something positive to you. So, thank you once again. We'll see each other again in the next time of sharing. Goodbye.